Yeah. Greetings, one and all. Fruits of the earth, souls incarnated here. Greetings, this is your brother Siayome, a.k.a. Cosmic Owl Mystic. And, yep, you're here again tonight on Cosmic Roots Show. reality of our true selves. So, in case there's anyone who's just coming in, like tuning into this show, it's more about, the cosmic reality of ourselves, and the discussions can go quite far, wide, broad, high, deep, into the more deeper inner realms of whom and what we are and what's going on around us, as in energy and vibrations. And, the focus and the central thing is about consciousness. Yes, that word is being floated around all over the place and being used in context, out of context, all twist up and all of that, just like many other things. But, yes, this is what this show is about, to inform and to activate and inspire and rewire. Yeah. So more soul light can be activated and clear and purify and realign to who he truly is. Okay. And for whatever assistance it can supply or provide. So I'm going to, play a few tunes to just kind of warm up the mood. And I'm going to play, this is an Afrobeat funk. I'm going to play a track from Tony Allen, and, enjoy this, y'all. Yeah. That was Tony Allen. We're dealing with some Afro funk there. Soul people or souls incarnated, y'all. Um, yes, we're going to do a topic this evening, and I will be playing something for a certain duration of time. The topic tonight is death after life, life after death. You heard correctly. Death after life, life after death, life after death, death after life. Yes, I'm going to go into this topic. Yes, it's important to present certain points of views that many may not be used to in order to assist in expansion, change in perception that can go a long way in assisting us to transform from our limited fear-based beliefs about things we don't fully understand or understand to overstand and stay stuck in various inaccurate indoctrinations about things that we use to also we try to use these things to comprehend ourselves and the world around us, and a lot of these things are built upon force premises. So if you start with A being the force premise, then B, C, E, and everything else is going to be inaccurate, you know. Last Tuesday I was talking about the show was on the foundation stone. And a lot of us believe that, a foundation is something that you're dealing with from a material level. You're thinking about, okay, manifest, physical stones, and so forth as to lay a foundation physically. But in true sense, in reality, everything begins from the spiritual foundation, okay, of the higher vibrations, stepping down in frequency into lower frequencies to end up having what you would say crystallizations of those vibrations to what you call materialization. So everything really begins in the spirit, okay? The spiritual, or the spirit, is the essence of consciousness. So the foundation stone, just in case, just a little review for those who may not have fully got what I was talking about, and what Sister Jahusha also called in and gave a very beautiful contribution to, complimentary to what was being presented that evening. The foundation stone is God consciousness. Yep. Let me just simplify it and hit it right to the bullseye. Foundation stone, the stone that the builder refused. You heard me play that track last Tuesday off Bob Marley, The Wailers, them, but Peter and Bunny. And these were proverbs, symbolic languages, symbolic representations of that which is pertaining to a truth relating to your soul, which goes beyond the superficial, earthly beliefs and ideas and thinking that a lot of us associate with or associate ourselves with. So the foundation stone, the stone that the builder refused, is God consciousness or source consciousness, okay? Whatever you want to put before it, but it's consciousness, all right? And, the God mind, God consciousness, G-O-D, generator, operator, director, or the great observer, divine, G-O-D, consciousness, yeah. Well, this is the foundation stone, consciousness. And this is why it's very important to really get a deeper, more broader, shift our points of view from that which may be quite limiting and narrowing to open up, okay, our perception in more of a broader way by being receptive to other points of view to deal with, very important issues we are facing here. So we can, gather these tools to use them for our benefit and to build a better reality for ourselves to experience. I'm going to play something by a woman named Dolores Cannon. And this clip was sent to me. And I said, I said that I would actually play this because it's actually a good introduction, good introduction. And when you're listening to others rather than just to hear me, usually you get certain people, they just, oh no, they don't want to listen to a certain point of view from a certain particular individual or individuals, but they would hear the same thing said that they were refusing before when someone else says it. You know what I mean? And this is just the way it goes with certain, the way the human mind is and so forth. So, yeah, before I play this, I want to, I want to kind of like, you see, a lot of people say we only have one life, I remember a little young boy who was, the son of a friend I knew. And one day we was in a sitting room and, we were talking about a few things. And anyway, he came out with, I only think there's only one life. You only live once. So I said to him, I wouldn't say that is true, but where do you get that from? Did somebody tell you that? No. I worked this out from within myself. Now, I felt to myself, you see, when you're dealing with children, what children don't realize is that, and like what we all don't really realize until it's brought to our attention, is that from 0 to 7, when we are all little children, we are operating in more of a theta brainwave frequency, which is that frequency that is associated with hypnosis, okay? When you're on long journeys, and you're, like you're caught on a train or on a bus and, caught up in traffic and it's moving and stopping, and the journey's taking longer than it, usually would take. And you find yourself kind of like going into this type of zone where you're nodding off and catching yourself. You see people falling asleep on the train and nodding themselves and up back again. Well, that's theta. That's you going in and out of this dimension, you see. Now, as youngsters, you see, we, from 0 to 7, we're operating more in a theta brain wavelength, which makes us very susceptible to psychically absorb that which we are within, in the environment we're in, the emotional, mental environment that we're growing up in, the institutions we're sent to and all of that. Children from 0 to 6, we're in a theta brainwave state. And you're just absorbing things. People don't even have to tell you stuff, okay? You're absorbing their mental states, emotional patterns, you're being influenced and downloaded inside of your subconscious. There are certain ideas that become the basis of how you begin to think about yourself and what you use to kind of, think on other things and form opinions and so forth. So, a lot of us are having ideas implanted into us, you can say, in the subconscious, where we are unconscious, non-consciously aware of where those ideas originally came from, And I didn't really want to go into that type of discussion with this youngster, but it was something like, it was something when I was observing it. The mother was kind of quite, like feeling proud of her son having such a thought. And I just felt to myself, okay, that's cool. But you see, this thing about one life, if you're going to say the infinite life of the oneness, and that eternal life can experience a multitude of incarnations, then I could say, okay, yeah, there is one life in that sense, but not that you just have one experience, okay, one incarnation. You understand? That's not how it goes, yeah. Now, a lot of people reject this multiple lives, but the thing is, multiple life is not just a belief. It's a real understanding about life, you see. And life is larger than life. You hear? Life is larger than life. So, if you only have a very limited view of something in yourself, then there's not much of an exploration, okay, you can do from that limited point of view if you choose to just hold onto it rigidly, you know. Understanding the truth about multiple life actually helps you to understand yourself more correctly, okay, or more holistically. It also assists you to understand the world more correctly, more holistically. And it also assists you to understand God correctly, okay? The grand observer, divine, the generator, operator, director, mind, or consciousness, which I already said at the beginning is the foundation stone. Because you see, consciousness is the substance, the creative substance of everything within creation. And the divine consciousness, or the divine mind, or God consciousness, is the creator and the substance of all of what's within creation itself, you see. So that includes, all of these all of these, including yourself, that exists here, you see, and within the boundless universe. So we're going to go into a discussion. Well, we're going to open the lines for this, for callers, soon. But I'm going to play something which is going to go on for about 30 minutes. What is about 53, but it's very important info. And it needs to be played for that period for you to get, the fuller explanations. It's from a woman named Dolores Cannon. Some folk may be familiar with her. But you also have people like Albert Taylor, who wrote a book called Soul Traveler. You might have been familiar with this brother, and he was dealing with out of body experiences. He was interviewed actually on Bless Radio some time ago by one of our fellow presenters, brother Carl X. That was a good interview. It was some years back. You also have people like Malidoma Patrice Some, who wrote a book called Water and Spirit, and he was talking about the different dimensions that exist to our soul and what we and where we occupy, more than just this dimension. And in many other folks, I've had my own experiences. It's not just book you read; it's experiences. Okay, and I know I'm not alone who has had their experiences to know that you're not this body; you are the soul. Okay, this body is a vehicle, just like cars are built to take you along the road. But you're the one driving it. Yeah, you are not the car, but the car serves you. You are the director, or you're the director. You're the generator, operator, director of the car. You know what I'm saying? You're the God. So that car does what you do. You know what I mean? Where you direct it, focus it. You know what I'm saying? Your intention and everything. So these are analogies, people. Not to be taken very literally, but to get the analogy to what it is alluding to, the truth it's actually alluding to. You see, you are the soul, not the body. And multiple lives are real. However, what instructions an individual receives and internalizes becomes that which they begin to use to understand themselves. And if it's very limited, they're not really going to have, the keys to access, greater depths, greater realities of, who they are. They won't even realize that they can change their reality. And here we go, God, the perception of God. We need to have a broader perception of what this is. Religion has done a lot of damage, I would say, to the very compartmentalized, pigeon-cooped mentality that a lot of us find ourselves stuck in. So when we're trying to find solutions to problems, you're stuck using the same tool that don't work, you know what I mean? But you'll still use it, and nothing's really changing. In fact, it has been said that what you focus on is what you get. And attention, where attention goes, energy flows. And a lot of folk don't realize the power of their attention. What they focus on is what they get. When you don't really comprehend, like say you're playing a game and you don't comprehend the way the game is to be played, you're going to be doing a whole heap of stupid moves on the board, right? Thinking, yo, this is how it goes, and then you get eaten up. You know what I'm saying? Person just wipes out all your men, if you're playing chess or drafts, which is why you need to kind of get a broader comprehension of how this game plays, how it works, so you get more understanding about yourself rather than trying to just hold on to a limited point of view that, it may have worked for you for a certain period of time, but it's lacking certain answers when more complex situations come about. You see what I mean? So that means you need to broaden your scope. Get me? But some people are very resistant to that, and may just get jealous and angry and, shut down. So, it's not about force feeding anybody, but it's just about opening the doors of liberation which exist within our own selves to realize that, hey, yo, you carry the key. And you can open the lock or keep the lock locked. You know what I'm saying? It's you. A lot of us don't want to see things like that because we hold on to limited points of views and most of these point of views don't even serve you. You know what I mean? So with all that's being said, laying a foundation and just giving in what we call, oh yes, and I must big up all the YouTube listeners, those who are listening live stream right now. You may have a different name you're reading on it, you know what I'm saying, King Warrior and that, but yeah, I can take that as title pseudonym for now, but I like to big up all the YouTube listeners. Yeah, big yourself up. Thank you very much. And yes, man, let's sit in this cosmic ride together. And let's journey through this experience that I'm going to share with y'all. And who feels activated, inspired, to call in and contribute with maybe your own experiences and with knowledge you also have to share that can assist, that also assists in you uplifting yourself and those who are receptive around you to, then feel free to call in when I do open the phone lines. But the telephone number for the phone lines I will just give right now is 079 444 31366. That is 079 444 31366. Or you can tune in also on www.blessradio.org and tune into this. You can also tune into it through the iTunes app. TuneIn app. Okay, TuneIn app. So yes, just to like to say thanks again to the live listeners tuning in on YouTube, and vibrations, what we resonate with, we become vibrational match to and attract to us that which we are vibrational match for. So with this more expansion of consciousness, give you all selves a round of applause, because your real freedom, I wouldn't even use the word freedom fighters, because you don't want to fight freedom. Freedom fighters, it's like firefighters. Okay, you're fighting fire, okay, but why you call yourself a fireman? You need to be a waterman. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, because that's what you use to put out the water, the fire, I mean. But anyway, the point being is, you are, freedom beings. You are the ones who are expanding this light of freedom within yourself, because you want to free yourself, you see? So therefore, we want to dive into the deeper divine knowledge of ourself and be receptive to different points of views that can expand what we are walking with now. You see what I'm saying? Because really, we contain it all. And more times, what we think we're learning for the first time is actually, it's not really that. You're remembering. You know what I'm saying? You think you're learning, but what it is, you're actually remembering more of you, remembering what you forgot. And this is what this show is also to assist in doing and taking place. So right now, without further delay, because we got time going on, I'm gonna play you this, and this is Dolores Cannon. For those of you who may have been aware of this woman, she's not the only one talking on this. I've given you some names already. Go and check out, Soul Traveler by Albert Taylor, and also Water and Spirit from Malidoma Patrice Somé. I mean, it's an old book. This stuff is going back, about 90s, but yeah, it's relevant info, seriously, and you're getting it, the different points of view, the same thing, and different points of view of the same thing that can expand your own point of view, you see, of yourself. So, without any further delay, tune into this this topic here, because it's going to explain some things that you're hearing it from someone else, okay, as well. So it's not just only me talking about this. Okay, people. So, souls, tune in.
Okay, but I'm going to talk about my book about life after death. That's what I meant. We're going a little serious here for a little bit. Because I talk at this also at ashrams all over the world. And they said it goes along perfectly with their teachings, with the Hindu religion. So I'm involved with a lot of different religions too, because it makes so much sense. But in my work, when you do the past life regressions, in order to do it correctly, you must take the person through the death experience. And a lot of hypnosis classes say, no, don't touch that, it's dangerous. It is not, because I've done thousands and thousands of people, and I've had them die in every way imaginable you could think of. And nobody's been harmed if you know what you're doing. And that's why I know it can't hurt. But during all that time, the 30 years I've been doing the past life regressions steadily, I took so many people through the death experience, because in the death experience, sometimes the answer for the problems in this lifetime. Phobias, allergies, you can see where that would come from, the way they died in the other life. But also medical things that are wrong with the body go back to the way they died in the other lifetime. So all of this is very important. So I found by taking hundreds of people back to the past lives and bringing them back through the death experience, they all described it the same way. They all said the same thing. So this is not near death. This is what I'm going to tell you about, is what they describe as real death, what really happens when you die and when you cross over. Because near death, you go so far. You have to come back. But this is what happens whenever you go all the way. And I usually give a longer lecture, so I'm going to try to stick to the main points, and then we'll see if you have any questions. Because I encompass just about everything you could possibly want to know in this subject. Okay, what I found out, well, people say this makes them to where they're not afraid anymore when they find these things out. And also they like to know if somebody has died, they want to know where they went. So these are important things to find out about. Okay, when the person goes through the death experience and they're dying, they said the first thing, they feel very cold. Then the next instant, they're standing by the bed looking down at the body. It's that quick. They say it's just like getting up from one chair and sitting down in another chair. You just slide right out of the body. So they're standing next to the bed looking down at the body, and they'll say, gee, I didn't know I looked that bad. And believe me, the last thing they'd want to do is go back into that body. Usually it's sick or it's diseased and there's no hope of it ever getting well. They don't want to go back to it, because the next thing that comes into their mind is, hey, I'm out of there. I'm free. I can go anywhere I want. I can do anything I want. So that's what they want to do. They want to go on. They want to go home, really. It's the people who are left behind are the ones who grieve about it. They want them to stay with them. But do you really want them to be back in a body like that most of the time there's no hope for them? It's better to realize to let them go, because when you hold on to it, you're being selfish. It's just for yourself. I'm going to miss them. I want them to be with me. I don't know what I'll do without you, that kind of thing. It's a selfish thing, because really the parts I'm going to go through is you make a contract when you come in. And in this contract, you also make an exit plan. So all of this is planned before you ever come into the life. So the person is ready to go on. They have completed their mission. They have completed everything they were supposed to do. They don't know this consciously, but it is part of a plan. So the person who is grieving doesn't understand that. It's time for them to go. They are going back home. And you have to continue with your life as part of your plan and your contract. Anyway, the first thing they say is, oh boy, I'm out of here. I'm going to get to leave. I can go home. And I found you are never alone. This is one of the greatest fears people have. They think when they die they're going to be alone, going into the great unknown. That's not what happens. You are never alone. You're never alone when you're alive either, but you don't realize that. Because when you come into a lifetime, you have a guardian angel, if you want to call it that, a guardian angel or a guide that is assigned to you specifically. They have to be with you your entire lifetime. They have to take care of you. They have to be there for you. And they love to help you, but they can't interfere. They can only help if you ask for help. And if you do, boy, do they take over. But sometimes it can be a deceased relative that is assigned to you, be your guardian angel. But you do have one. And if your life gets a little complicated, you may have more than one. You can have as many as 4, all taking care of different things. And if your life takes a sudden turn in a different direction, sometimes these guides will change places, and another one will come in that has more expertise in your field that you're going into. So you always have somebody there. So whenever you actually die and leave the body, you'll always have someone, I call them the greeters. Someone will come to meet you and take you where you're supposed to go. Now, all of you have probably been with somebody dying in a hospital, and they see unseen people around the bed. Have you ever had that happen? Usually it's deceased relatives. They see them standing around the bed. This is very real. The doctors and the nurses try to say, well, it's just the drugs or the oxygen deprivation because they're dying. No, it's very real. And I've had other nurses say it happens a lot, that they will see people there, and you notice they're always very happy. So-and-so is here, you know, and they know they're going to go with them, husband, relative, or whatever it is. So if they aren't there, the guide or guardian angel will be there, but you'll always have somebody to take you where you're supposed to go. So then they're taken to the other side. Now, usually when I'm talking to an audience, I say, how many of you have ever had near-death experiences? There's always people in the audience that say they have had near-death experiences. I don't care what the doctors say, it's very, very real. That I've had enough proof of it in my work, I know it's very real. But in most of the near-death experiences, the person either going through a tunnel or they're going out of their body, they are going toward a huge light. And they never reach that light. They usually are turned back before they get to that light. Usually there's somebody there who says, are you sure you want to go? You know, you have a choice, but maybe it'd be better if you go back. You know, your family needs you, things like that. But sometimes there's someone there to give you a choice if you want to return or do you really want to go on. It's your decision. But whenever they decide to go back, they never go all the way to that bright light. I found out what that bright light is. This is why they don't actually die, because they don't go all the way. The bright light is a huge energy source. You may even want to call it God if you want to, but it's a powerful energy source. And when you actually do leave your body and die, you go through that light. And when you go through that light, the silver cord is severed at that time. You're all attached with a silver cord, our spirit, which is the real you, and the body the entire time you're alive. Because every night you go out of your body. Everybody does. The spirit, the real you, imagine how bored it would get sitting around waiting for the body to wake up. The body's what gets tired. The real you doesn't. And so it's sitting around waiting for you to get up. Okay, let's get on with it. As soon as the body goes to sleep, you're out of there, having all kinds of adventures. You're going to the spirit side, you're talking to your guides and your masters and getting instructions. Or you're off anywhere you want to go in the world, seeing people, looking in on them, whatever you want to do. Or you can go off to other planets, other dimensions. You do this every night, but you don't know it because, well, you're not supposed to know it for one thing, it'd be too confusing. But the only way you remember is if you have dreams of flying or dreams of strange, unfamiliar places. So we're off having all these adventures every night. And in toward morning, when it's time to get back to the body, we are connected with the silver cord the whole time. You're reeled in, so to speak. They reel you back in to where you're back in the body again. Then the body has to wake up and you're ready to continue your daily work. So whenever you actually die, you go through this energy source. At that time, the silver cord is severed immediately by the energy. When that happens, you cannot return to the body again. That's the spark of life. Once that spark of life has left the body, it begins to deteriorate immediately. You ever watch someone die, you know something's gone, it's left. At that point, the body begins to deteriorate. Then you're on the other side and you cannot come back. The only way you have ghosts, you have people coming back and giving messages, apparitions, but it's not the actual person because they can't come back into the body again. So once you get over there, you're met with great love. There is no hell. There isn't. I've done thousands and thousands of cases. There is no hell. Hell is an invention of the church, and you can see why. It was never in the Bible. It's something has been invented. There is no hell. A loving God would not do that to people. You are allowed to make all the mistakes you want. You're allowed to come back and do it again and again till you get it right. They don't punish you just because you make a mistake and throw you into an oven. It doesn't work that way. You have to realize you have made mistakes. Earth is a school, but it's a school, you come here to learn lessons, but it's a school where you can't skip a grade, but you can have to repeat a grade. You don't get it right. You have to come back and do it again until you get it right. You can't go from kindergarten to college. It's impossible. You have to learn the lessons, and the lessons are not easy. Earth is a school where you learn emotions and limitations. Those are the two main things, emotions and limitations. Those are not taught on other planets. This is a very challenging planet. So you come here to learn these things, and it's all important lessons. I tell people everyone has bad things that happen in their life. But what did you learn from that bad thing? If you learned even one thing, that was the reason for the experience. If you say you didn't learn anything, you're going to have to come back and repeat it again, the same circumstance. It's all teaching us something. And that's what it's all about. It's not easy. Life is not easy. The problem is when we come back, we don't remember what we came for. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, once you get over there, I have found 3 different places that you can go to. Now you go to the place that you are tuned to by your vibration and your frequency. because you can't go to anything else. You have to be vibrating at that frequency. And as you become more advanced, if you learn more, each time you die, you'll go a little higher and a little higher. Different places over there, because of the vibration and frequency will match as you grow. You don't want to keep what I call the wheel of karma. You just keep going round and around and around, making the same mistakes. You're not going anywhere. You're not advancing. You're not doing anything. You're just playing the same old game again and again. That's what we have to get out of that rut. So the three places that I have found, it's the lower astral, is what I'm going to talk about first, the lower astral. And of course, all these places are divided into many other compartments, also depending on your frequency. The lower astral, I don't think anybody in this room is going to have to worry about. Those are those people who we might consider earthbound. They have lived in such a negative life that they don't realize they can go anywhere else. All they know is life. And these are like the ones who are the murderers, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the ones that are, they just don't want to come out of where they are, the very negative people. When they die, they don't know they're dead because they think they're still alive. They don't know anything is going on. And they're so confused because they have died in this kind of a condition that they keep trying to get back into bodies, which you cannot do. I have found there is no such thing as possession. There is no such thing as demonics. It's protected solely by a shield. But they will try. And you can be influenced if you're drinking or if you're on drugs. You can be influenced by these kind of entities. But see, they don't realize they have died. And what they're trying to do is get the same sensations they had through osmosis, hanging around people who are drinking or who are on drugs or who are killing people in back alleys, trying to get the same sensations and pleasures they had when they were alive. Well, the greeter, the one who's supposed to take them on, is there, and they're shaking their heads saying, well, when are you going to get, no, I'm here, you're supposed to go on. But they get so involved in it. But after a while, it's like, this is boring. I can't get the same sensations. I can't do it. I can't get back into what they thought they were supposed to get into. It's boring. There must be something more to it. At that point, they look around and they see the one who has been sent to take them on. They said, are you ready to go now? And so they'll go with them. And they're always met with great love because they know they just went down the wrong path. And all they have to do is they have to go to schools, they have to take lessons on that side so they can be ready to come back again. If you come back too soon, you're not ready because it's that negativity will carry over. So that's the lower astral. And I don't think anybody here is going to have to worry about that, but you should know it's there. The middle astral is, I think, the equivalent of what the churches call heaven. It's very beautiful, it's very wonderful. They've all described it the same way, that there's a beautiful lake, there's hills around the lake, there's all kinds of houses. If you decide your idea of heaven is to live in a house just like you just left, and maybe one that's better, maybe you want to live in a castle, you can have it. Your idea of what is the best, what is your idea of heaven? That's where you will go to, what kind of a house. If you decide you want to spend eternity living in this house with your friends, your relatives who have died, that's your idea of eternity, you can have it. That's what the churches usually talk about as heaven. It's extremely beautiful. There's music in the air. They said the colors are so vibrant that some people who have had near-death experiences bring back that memory of the colors, especially the flowers. There's huge gardens, and the colors are so extraordinary. You've never seen anything like it. And they remember when they come back from near-death experiences, they say even the molecules of the plants and things seem to be vibrating for a while after they get back because they have that memory of the colors in their mind. And I asked them one time, is that an imitation of Earth, our plants and flowers? They said, no, Earth is a very poor imitation of what's over there. If you could imagine flowers that never die, roses that are always perfect, that is what it's like over there. So it's extremely beautiful. So they go and they're living with their relatives, doing everything they ever wanted to do, and this idea of a perfect heaven. The only problem is, it doesn't last. That's not the way it is. What are you learning if you just had it perfect forever? So after a little bit, a knock will come at the door, and they'll say, okay, you ready to go up and do the review of your life? And they'll say, what do you mean? I'm perfectly happy right here. I don't want to go anywhere. This is heaven. I don't want to go anywhere. So, you know, it's not the way it works. You know, you've been here for a little while, but now we got to move on. So they take them up to the review board. And there are boards, there are elders, there's masters. They can't tell you what to do, but they're there to advise you. So you go up and look, and they're going to show you your life. They show you everything you have ever done, every word you've ever said, everybody you have ever touched or hurt or anything. And believe me, this is not easy to look at. They're showing it very objectively, but they don't show it just from the viewpoint of you looking at it. They show it from the perspective of everybody you were involved with. You begin to see it from their eyes, from their viewpoint. And believe me, that hurts. Because all of a sudden they'll say, I didn't know I hurt them like that. I didn't know what I said affected them that way. Because, you know, we do that. We go through life. We don't pay attention to what we're doing to people. But over there, you see it. And you see exactly what you've done and exactly the way it affected the other people. I think if more people understood this, we'd be kinder to people, knowing it's going to come back on us. I have to do something to repay what I have done to that person. So then you talk to the other soul. You'll say, well, we didn't do such a good job, did we? Maybe we ought to go back and do it again. This time, you be the husband, I'll be the wife. You be the mother, I'll be the child. Because you can switch roles around any way you want. It doesn't make any difference. It's all a play anyway. It's just a game. It's all a play. I've had people go through the death experience, and when they're up on the other side looking down at it, they'll say, it was just a play. I see all the actors in the wings getting ready to come on and play their parts and put on their costumes. It didn't mean anything. But they said when I was there, it was so intense. It was so much emotion. And I was in the middle of all of this. But they said from over here, it's like a blink of an eye. You can look at it from two different things. We get caught up in the illusion. These are the things that are important for people to know about. And it is just a game, just a play, but we're playing different parts. You have a body, you are not a body. This is just a suit of clothes, I call a costume, you put on to play this part at this time. The next time around, you know, suits of clothes, no matter how much you attach to them, how much you like them, they are going to wear out. You have to eventually throw them away. And when that happens, you just get another suit of clothes, another costume to play the next part that you're going to have to come back and do again. So you have to make these plans, and you have to make your contract with these people. Okay, let's go back and let's do it again. Let's try this time. Sometimes they've gone through a series of lives with the same people making the same mistakes again and again and again. And it's finally time to tear up the contract and say, it's not working. Let's just forget about it. We tried, but it's not working. So this is what happens in the middle astral. The upper astral is my favorite place because I love knowledge. I'm so curious. I love research. I want to know more. The upper astral is where the schools are. And the Temple of Wisdom complex is my most favorite place You got to remember, in my work, I've heard hundreds and hundreds of people describe these same things again and again and again. If they all describe the same things without knowing what the others have said, to me that gives it validity, because it's like a scientific experiment. But they describe the Temple of Wisdom complex. It is composed of many different parts. They're like huge temples. They look like Roman temples with the big pillars. Well, one of the parts that they talked about is the healing temple. And I was told I could do a great service to people to let people know about this, because you don't have to die to go there. You can go there in meditation. You can go there in your dreams at night to the Temple of Healing. And they showed me long lines of people lined up. They've just died, and they have to go to the Temple of Healing first, like a cleansing, before they can go on to where they're supposed to go. And as they come in, there's always a guardian of each one of these parts. And the guardian of the temple, you know, the greeters brought the person in. They take the person into the center of this dome-shaped room. And the top of the dome is full of beautiful stones of every color you can imagine. And the light comes down. It is just beautiful, shining down on the floor. And the person stands in the center of this and is bathed in this beautiful light. And what it does, it takes away any residue of anything that you've gone through, maybe the death or anything you've gone through in that life. It just washes it all away so that you can go on to where you're supposed to go. But they said if people wanted to go there and be healed, they could also picture it and go there at night. Because they said they can tell the ones who are not dead. They see the silver cord trailing behind them. And they know that they're there for a different reason. Another part of the Temple of Wisdom complex is the tapestry room. And I've written about this in many of my books. The tapestry is huge, and it goes for miles. It's on one huge wall. And the people that have seen it said it's almost like it's alive. It's a fabric, but it's like it breathes. It's almost alive. And in this tapestry are many, many threads. Every one of you has a thread in the tapestry. It's the thread of life. And it's the story of your life is in these threads in this tapestry. And it shows how it all interweaves and all interconnects, how we all affect each other and how we're all connected together. So it's like you're one, but you're also everything. So everybody affects everybody else in some way as it all interweaves. And they told us that it'd be very important for people to realize you don't know how much you affect other people. What you say, what you do affects everyone in your life. This is because we're all interwoven and we're all affecting each other. So the tapestry of life is very important. You can see we're all, once you understand these things, there's no prejudice, there's no judgment, because we're all the same. We're all trying to learn something and get out of this rat race off of the wheel of karma. We're all here for the same reason in this school. You can't judge people. They're just at different stages of their growth and different classes. So the tapestry is very important. And it's been explained in several of my books, if you've read mine, about that. What happens when people go into the tapestry and go on the other side into our concept of time. Okay, and my favorite place is the library. Because every time I go there, there's always a guardian. Now, I don't go, I'm taking my person there, but I feel I've seen it enough that I know what it's like, and it's beautiful. There's a guardian of the library. So when you come in, well, I come with the person, and the first thing they want to know, oh, okay, it's you again. What do you want to know now? Because they know me. So that everything I've written about, my research, I ask them questions, I can have the information, because the library contains every information you can think of. This is how I got the information I wrote about Earth mysteries, about Atlantis, all these things by going to the library. Because the library has everything that is, all the knowledge that has ever happened and all the knowledge that ever will be that we cannot possibly imagine is all in this library. So it's, to me, it's a most favorite place. And if you want, you can see it as books. You can see it as energy. People have asked me about the Akashic records. They're there also. You can have access to them. But this is the way you want to obtain the information. You can do it by reading or by accessing the scrolls or however you want to get it. But there are other ways to do it also, and this is how I've got a lot of the things I've written about. Along the sides of the library are rooms. In these rooms, it's rather like going in Star Trek in the holodeck. You step into those rooms, and if there's something you want to know about, it appears around you, and you're right in the middle of it, and you can see it happening. And that's how we found out about the lower astral. We didn't want to go there. They just took us there and showed us these things. So when you're in the rooms, you can see anything you want and have all knowledge that you want. So you can see why I love this, because this is where I get the things I write about, is in the library. It's just so wonderful. So that's the library. And the other places are the schools. Now, they said in these schools, you also go to the level that you vibrate at, your frequency is at. You know, my idea of heaven, what they always talk about, floating around on a cloud, playing a harp, that'd be so boring. That's not for me. I'm always looking for information. My idea of heaven is the schools. Because in these schools, you can have all knowledge of anything you possibly want. Everything is possible to be learned over there. So I asked them, okay, if you can learn everything there is over there, why do you have to come back to Earth? Wouldn't that be easier? They said, no, because over there, it's like book reading versus hands-on experience. You can read about it, but you're not experiencing it. And they said you do. You learn a lot, but it'll take much, much longer because you're not having the hands-on experience, the interaction with people. Because they said, yeah, you can read about love, hate, jealousy. You say, well, it's not hard. I can do that. But you get down here, and you get in the middle of it. Everybody else's emotions. It's not easy at all. But you learn so much more than you would over there. It's just like if you went to college and took chemistry, you're in the laboratory. You can read about chemistry, you can read about the chemicals, but do you really understand it till you go into the library and start mixing the chemicals? You have to have the hands-on experience. The same way with learning auto mechanics. You can read about how a motor works and how to tear it apart and put it together, but do you really understand till you go and start taking it apart and putting it together? That's the difference. So they said that.
Yo, 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 yo. Yes, people. Just pausing there for a second. Just let you know I'm still here and we are still tuned in to Cosmic Root Show, y'all. Yeah, you hear what this sister's saying, this woman is saying. It's very interesting, this point of view she is coming from through the the many reports from her clients, taking them through this hypnosis process, to get a lot of this information. She's not alone in this info, and there's those of us who have had experiences of leaving our bodies and traveling into different dimensions of consciousness and returning back. I myself has had that. I know I'm not alone in it, but this shows you that there is a more broader context in our lives and what we're experiencing here, okay? And it has also been known that when we chat about Earth, Earth is the hell. We've been told about hell after death and all of that, which is a church thing. You know what I'm saying? Even hell actually is related. Hello, hell is also dealing with Helios, which is fire, Helios, the sun. All right. But anyway, I'm going to go back to this and continue. But I just wanted to make an injection here. I'll let you all know that, anybody who's just tuning in, that you're not just hearing some other radio show, okay? Because you're not hearing my voice and so forth. So this is about life after death, death after life, to broaden our perspective and perception of what we are experiencing here. And really the bigger picture, from our soul level of why we've incarnated and what lessons and so forth we have chosen to expand and grow in our soul. You know what I'm saying? To clear up various lessons, clear up various things we have incarnated and maybe have done in previous incarnations, and coming back to clear them up until you don't need to come back here again, because this is a kind of lower plane. In fact, this is the hell. You know what I'm saying? And this is where we're experiencing more emotions. It's like you're learning to remember things. Okay, we're experiencing emotions and limitations, as she said, and anyway, it's showing you that pointing finger, blaming, and all this victimizing business is just stupidness, because you're actually generating more of the very same thing that you're supposed to come here and work out, but you're gonna keep yourself on a treadmill. So anyway, I'm gonna continue with this, and not that much left of it. So yeah, for those who are listening live, if you want to add any comments to the chat room, feel free. Okay, all right. You want to make any comments, say anything, to the chat room, on the chat room, make certain, related to this topic, subject matter this evening, then yeah, feel free to do so, and I'll read out your questions on air. Okay, and so forth. So yeah, we shall continue.
That's why we choose to come back, because we can learn faster, we can pay our karma back, and we can be finished much easier. So we choose to come back, and we make our contracts with these other people. Now there is nobody sitting up there on a throne judging you and punishing you. People blame God for everything. Believe me, he is not doing this at all. You do it to yourself. You can't blame anybody but yourself. They say, I don't remember writing this script, but that's exactly what happens. You're the one who's writing this whole scenario. There's nobody up there who is judging you and punishing you. You see your life. You see what you have done. You see the people you have hurt. You make the contracts. You judge yourself. And there's no harsher judge than you yourself.
Hey, you hear that? You hear that? Just thought I'd pause that. Hey, you hear that? You're judging yourself, and there's no harsher judge than yourself. There is this belief in this judging God doing that you want to has to take responsibility for the things that you're actually doing down here. It don't exist, yeah. There's no judging God. You're the judge. See? It's where people don't want to take responsibility for the things they're causing in their life. The way they're erroneously using their consciousness. You know what I said earlier on about what you focus on is what you get? A lot of us focus on... Anyway, let me continue and allow this thing to complete itself. All right.
You see, you're the one that are creating this, because you have to pay these things back, and that's where karma comes in. So anyway, you make your contract, and you're ready to come back. Okay, you have your little package or your nice little plan. You come in and say, okay, I'm going to do all of this. I want to get it all done at one time. I want to really finish. I don't want to have to come back and do it again. This earth is hell. They've told me that many times. Earth is hell, because that's where people hurt each other. It's not what you think it is. So that's why they don't want to really come here, but they know they have to in order to get it all worked out. So you make your plan, and the guides and the guardians and the elders and the masters are working with you as you're trying to make your plan. And sometimes they will give you 2 or 3 different scenarios you look at. This is the lives you can pick. Which one do you want to do? You want to be a man? You want to be a woman? Do you want to be an Eskimo? You want to be an Indian? What do you want to do? And you pick your scenario of what you want to be. Sometimes you want to take on too much, because they'll say, I want to get it all done at one time. And they say, you know, it's not a very good idea. They can't tell you what to do. They can advise you, but they'll say, you know, it's going to be really hard if you do it like that. He said, oh, I don't care. I want to get it all done. It's like taking college and not leaving any time for extracurriculars. You just study all the time. You can't take it. It's too much. They said it doesn't matter if you get it all done at one time. You can always come back and do the rest. Do as much as you can, as good as you can. That's all you're expected to do. So they'll tell you, all right, if this is your decision, it's not going to be easy. We'll help you, but it's going to be hard. So you make the decision. You write the script. You pick the characters. You make all the agreements with them. I'm going to be your husband, wife, daughter. I'm going to meet you on a street corner sometime, and we'll be friends from then on. You try to write the whole scenario. You come in with your nice little plan, all wrapped up like a Christmas present. The problem is, this is a planet of free will. So everybody else is coming in with their nice little plan. So it's all going to clash. So what they always say about best laid plans, I've had them go through the death experience and they'll say, what happened? I had it all figured out. Life happened. So it's not perfect, but that's what it's all about. We're learning. We're learning lessons. We're trying to get better at it. We want to get off of the wheel until we can be finished and return to God and never have to come back here again. That's the idea. So we come in with our plan anyway. And to make it even more complicated, you're coming in with your plan, but you can't remember. Not allowed. What are the rules? Over there, everything is so clear, so plain, makes so much sense. But you come in, the blinders come down. You forget everything. And I asked them, I said, wouldn't it be a lot easier if we knew why we were coming here? We remembered. If we knew our connection with all these other people, wouldn't that make it a whole lot easier? They said, no, it wouldn't be a test if you knew the answers. So you've got to come in totally blind to everything. And what they call it, the blinders. And when you die, it's all taken off, and you say, oh, look at this, you know. Then you're back with total knowledge again. But when you come in, it's all shut down. I've had them go through the birth experience, and they're saying, gotta remember, gotta remember. Then they're born, and they'll say, I don't remember anymore. One of the reasons why babies, you know, they have to go for the first 2 years of their life learning how to crawl and to walk and to talk, because they're forgetting everything if they remembered anything at all. You've got to learn how to be a human being. It's not easy. During the first 2 years of a baby's life, it's still going back and forth. That's why you sleep so much. The baby sleeps so much. It's still going back to the other side, getting last-minute instructions and last-minute advice from the council. And this is why older people, too, you notice when they're getting older and you think they're going to die, they start sleeping a lot. They're actually going back and forth and getting their instructions, and they know when they're going to go. Now, I said in the beginning, I'll try to leave some time for some questions here. This is a big subject, and it's covered in, this is the book, it's called Between Death and Life. People always say, don't you have that backwards? It's supposed to be between life and death. No, it's between death and life. Whole new existence between what you think it is. I wrote this, it's been 15 years ago. It's in 20 different languages all over the world, and more coming. So people said it's very important, but it has all of the questions you could possibly want. It's a big subject, so I can't cover it all. I'm trying to hit the basics here. But, you see, where was I at there? Okay, you get down here then, and you have to start all over again with everything. Oh, yeah, the exit plan. Part of your plan that you make, your contract, you decide how you're going to die, how you're going to exit. You got to have a way to get out of the body. Nobody dies until they are ready to die. That may sound cold, may sound hard to understand. They don't know this consciously, but on the other part where they have made their plan, they know they are planning to go out at a certain time. They know how they're going to do it. They say, well, it'd be interesting. I think I'll go out in a train wreck. I haven't done that for a while, so let's try that, you know. You decide how you're going to do it. And you're the one that actually makes the plan of how you're going to leave the body when the time comes. You go out in groups. Some people come in groups. They like to be in groups, and they'll say, okay, we're going to go out on an earthquake. We'll go out together. Are we going to go out with 9/11? Nothing is ever an accident. It's all planned ahead of time. So when you look at all these things, you can look at all of this from a totally different perspective. That it's more of a plan to everything than you realize. When you understand that, you can control your life, just like Ron was saying.
Hey, you hear that? Just taking note, y'all. I'm getting some comments. Sister Carol, yeah, man, this is a powerful, information coming through. And yes, it certainly is. And look what, I just paused it there about taking control of your life. It's about changing your perception of things rather than staying rigid and locked into a pigeon coop. You know what I'm saying? What is being presented here can expand your perception of yourself and how things actually really work. Okay? Because, there's a bigger field of play going on here. And you are the soul. You're not the body. But as I inject, I am going to, also continue with this. I just wanted to inject there. This is soon finished, but I just wanted to inject there because look at this, man. A lot of things we're focusing on, a lot of things we're blaming things on. We're blaming, look at the things we're blaming. We're blaming others for things that really we all are responsible for. You hear? Oh, man. Yeah. That means there's certain type of ideologies we're going to have to evaluate. Okay? Anyway, yes. Tuning into the rest of this.
I give lectures on that too. Once you realize everything in your life you have put there, you have created, you have done it. People don't like that because sometimes their lives are a mess. But when they realize you have put it in your life, if you've created it, you can just as easily uncreate it. Once you realize the power that you have, we are a creative being. We can do anything we want. But I like to think sometimes if the person makes changes in the way they want to go out, they can stay longer if they want to. Because I've had so many different things like this happen. But really, when it comes time to go, you have decided to go. Dr. Bonnet, who spoke here the last 2 years, I published 3 of his books, and he's a wonderful man. He was 45 years as a doctor, and he was the head of a hospital, and he was trying to teach how our minds heal the body. And he said that when he was in the hospitals, they would have a code blue, somebody with a heart attack, and it was an older person. He was taking his own sweet time getting to the room because he said he knew they wanted to go. Why keep them here? And he was waiting for, they want to go, let them go. And he said a lot of times he'd be standing around the bed with the other relatives and they're all crying and everything, and he was telling them, let grandma go. She doesn't want to be here anymore. They're the only ones holding on to. He said she's sick, she's tired, she wants to go. But it takes another way of looking at all of this. And I don't know if this is bothering you or not, but people say when they realize what it's really about and where they go, and it's so extremely beautiful over there, their home, and they're so happy that you wouldn't feel bad about it. So there's a whole lot more to it, but Julie, you back there?
Hey, y'all, let grandma go, y'all. Let grandma go. Yeah, a lot of people's, discomfort, pain they experience over departed ones is all coming from them. They ain't ready to let go of their psychological or emotional dependency. Their psychological or emotional dependency that they have upon this person. and not looking to see that everyone around you is a soul having their own, unique lessons being played out. And you're playing a role as your own soul expression, okay, within their, their stuff as well as your stuff to work out. You see, what you do to someone that has created an imbalance in yourself and them, we come back to figure that stuff out. You see what I'm saying? And that means that you can also incarnate in a different body, a different race, a different culture, a different ethnicity, okay? And experiencing the very thing that you may have been dishing out in a previous incarnation when you were in a different ethnicity that was inflicting the ethnicity you're born into now, okay? You know what I'm saying? That you're now experiencing. It seems complicated. And it is a little. Yeah, it is. But when you work it out, it isn't. Because you realize you're the one who you got to take charge of. You understand? Everyone's working out some stuff. And when you don't need to work out any stuff no more, you get out of here. You graduated from Earth School. Because this is the hell place, all right? There's no hell outside of the human mind's creation and ideas of it, okay? These are just stuff that exists in this plane as part of the program that you're working yourself through to remember who you are. So you can work out and recreate. You can change your situations through knowledge and awareness of yourself. Okay? Anyway, this is soon going to be finished. Oh, I'll play the rest. It's only about another 10 minutes. Just wanted to interject, let you know I'm still here.
You want to get the microphone, and I've got time for some questions anyway. But there's a lot, because I don't think there's any. Some questions I wait because they're pretty serious. And so if I give a longer lecture, we try to cover a lot of these. So just cover as many questions as we can real quickly here. Okay. Well, go over there first. They had their hands up first. Okay. But it's a lot to this anyway. Okay. And I've spoken in unity churches about this, and the Ashram said this fits in exactly with their beliefs too. Yep.
This is kind of a silly question, but when you're out traveling and astral traveling at night, and it comes that 3 a.m. time that you have to get up and go to the restroom.
I didn't get that what?
Okay, when you're traveling and you have to wake up in the middle of the night.
Oh, when you're out of your body.
Does your cord does a cord come back in when your body becomes awake again?
You're
for
reeled
that
in.
break?
Yeah, you're reeled in when it's time for the body to wake up.
This is like when you have to go back in when you have to go to the restroom.
Oh yeah, the body is saying I need attention. So it brings you back in. Yeah.
And the other question is, when you are ready to exit, do you have that innate knowing that it's my time?
They're ready to go.
Okay.
I would like to say some people have told me sometimes they wake up in the morning and they feel paralyzed and it scares them because they can't move. All it is the connections have not been put back together again, and the soul is entering the body again. You just wait a few minutes and it'll all be hooked back. Sometimes the person wakes up too quickly. Maybe there's a noise or something that wakes them up before they're all the way back in their body. I had one woman said she went to the doctor. He spent $7,500 on sleep tests. And if all it was that she just wasn't hooked back up as she's coming back into the body. These things are simple to understand when you understand how it works. Okay, one behind? Yeah.
You're a mother, have been a nurturing mother, you pass away, and I understand part about going to heaven, following the light. I don't believe that they're up there playing golf and get to live in a beautiful house or anything like that. My thought is that they come back down, that God sends you back down into somebody that needs your help. Like my mom passed away. Yeah. I have a sister that is dying of cancer. I just can't imagine my mom just hanging up out there, having a good time, and God just sending her to school, and she's not helping my sister.
How do you know she's not helping her?
Oh, I know she's got to be. That's where she is. That's
Like
where
I
she's
said,
got
sometimes
the allies.
relatives are assigned to come back and take care of the ones who are still
Yeah.
alive,
You know?
if they're needed.
Yeah, I would think so too. I just,
But otherwise, they're sitting up there, and they're asked, "Do you want to come back?" And they said, "Oh no, they'll be here in the blink of an eye. Don't worry about it. They know you're coming." So
Really?
they've got their own life to live. I don't know if that makes
Really?
you feel any better or not.
No.
But they know you'll be there eventually.
Well, especially, a child, when a parent passes, okay, there's usually a succession that you
Yeah.
expect. And when a younger child dies, is in the...
I have had that many clients come to me that their children have died and they're very upset about it. And during my work, we can contact the part of them that has all of the answers. And always says the same thing. Their contract was finished, they did what they had to do, they left. It affects us, but they knew what they were doing. That soul is never a child's soul, is never a baby's soul. It's been around forever. So it makes a decision, okay, I'll go in, I'll just live for a few years. Maybe my mother will learn something. Maybe the relatives will learn something. You have to look at it from a different viewpoint.
Hey, this soon done, man, but you're listening to the Cosmic Roots Show with Brother Siayome, a.k.a. Cosmic Hell Mystic. Now, you just heard that. A child, when it comes in, it ain't dealing with no little child. That soul's existed before creation. Okay? We got to look at things from a different viewpoint. You understand? More broader perspective. We got to expand our perception, okay, of our life and reality, all right? The little child, you think, oh, little baby's just coming, oh, all of that virgin little baby. No, man, that soul is some big grand thing, man. We've been living for a long time, you understand? But we're coming in, working things out, or even just coming in to teach certain lessons, you understand? Anyway, I'll go complete this. This is about 8 more minutes, so just, hold on to the end.
Did you learn anything or not? That's the thing. So I do a lot of counseling with parents, because that's part of my work as a therapist. I do work with these people on their problems, and so I've heard this a lot, and it does help them. I had one woman who was grieving for her sister, and instead of going into a past life, she went to the other side, and she saw her sister walking toward her through this beautiful garden. And as she got up, she said, she was talking to her sister, and she says, "What happened? We thought you were getting well. What happened?" She said, "It was my time." She said, "Let me go. Can't you see how beautiful it is? Live your life." Because it was her plan. But she said, "Can't you see how beautiful it is? Let me go." She said, "I did what I was supposed to do." And you look at it from a different viewpoint like that, it takes a change of where we've been taught. But you can see everybody has their own plan, and your part in it is, how do you react to it? How did it affect you? You learned something or not? Okay, we got just a little bit.
Just one more question I want to ask about something I've been wanting to know for a long time.
This is not an easy subject, I know. I deal with this a lot, yeah?
I've studied this subject a lot too, and I know a lot of the things that you've said, but the one thing I've always questioned is someone that comes in retarded, are they going to be able to, or many things that they come in with real severe ailments or something, are they able to make a big step in that one lifetime? Mm-hmm. Is that what that's about?
Yes, because you make yourself sick. There are more souls in line for the handicapped bodies than for normal bodies. You can see why. Because usually they can pay back more karma in one lifetime than it would take them 10 lifetimes to pay back. They're learning a lot, but what are they teaching others? The person who takes care of them, anybody they come in contact with. How do you react when you see a handicapped person? They teach you everybody they come in contact with. And you're learning something from everyone you see. So there are more people in line for the bodies that are handicapped and diseased because they're learning and they're teaching other people. When I see somebody who in a wheelchair or who is a retarded child, I just think, you chose a hard one this time, didn't you? It's a different way of looking at it. Okay, just a few more here.
There have been accounts written of people who have had near-death experiences that have been very, very negative.
I've never had a negative one.
But I mean, I have chosen not to read those because I didn't want that in my consciousness.
I have had them say if the person experiences a negative near-death experience, because that's what they were expecting. From the brainwashing of church and everything, they'll say you're going to hell, you're not good enough, you're going to, nothing good can come out of this. They'll go to what they're expecting, but it's not real. So they don't stay there. They've told me that. If that's what you're expecting, you'll see it. But a lot of it does have to do with the brainwashing. And my daughter worked in hospital in intensive care for a long time. And she said the hardest things that she had to witness were these older people dying, and they're saying they're dying in fear because they said, I've been told by the church I'm going to hell because I'm not perfect. And they knew, even though they lived a good life, I'm not perfect. So why should they die in fear just because the church says that's the way it should be? So that's what I mean. You've got to get rid of that fear because then naturally they're going to see something awful because that's what they've been promised. But you don't stay there.
Well, I never read those.
What?
I never read, I chose not to read that type of book because I didn't want that type of book.
Yeah, because there are people that write these kind of things. But I've done enough cases that, and they've told me time and time again, it doesn't happen. But if you're expecting it, anything you believe is real, you know. Okay.
Yes, I have a true story. A friend of mine, about 2 years ago, she spent about 10 years looking after her mother, who was gradually dying. She had no other one.
It's hard to, I can't understand.
Sorry. Should I? Oh, have
And put it down a little bit.
Down here?
It's very distorted, yeah?
Does this sound better?
Up a little bit.
Now?
Yeah. Try there, okay.
See, I need help.
I'll see.
Thank
Okay.
you. No, it's a good friend of mine, and she had been looking after her mother, who was gradually dying for many years. And I'll just sum it up, say it took nearly 10 years. After about 9 years, she moved to Oklahoma, and she said her mother got so weak, she needed care 24/7, and so on and so on. But she said her mother was gradually dying, she could tell, and the nurses 2 or 3 times that came in the night thought she was just about dead, but she came back. And finally one day, but she knew her mother was very concerned with her because she was alone, she had no children, she was not married. She was concerned for her daughter, for my friend, Carol Jean. And she knew that her mother didn't want to leave her in this rented house that was full of mold and all this stuff. Her mother didn't want to leave her in a condition where her daughter would suffer. So her mother, one night she said, I know my mother died. Of course, she had nurses training. She knew, she said, my mother's heart stopped. Her blood, the blood test she gave her, she said, I couldn't bring her back. And she said, I just went on my knees and I prayed to God. And she said, then I went to get some medicine or to cover her up, and she said, I put the sheet over her face, and all of a sudden mother started breathing. This was after quite some time. So her mother lived another year. And in that time, my friend was able to buy a house, to clear out the mold, to change her life, to be able to prepare to do other work when her mother was gone. And a year later, almost to the day, her mother did pass on, and it was the same day that her father had passed on 15 years before. So she had a choice, apparently.
Okay, at my work, you see what's happened here? Why would they be dying for so many years? Why did they have to have the person taking care of them all those years? Karma. There was karma between the two. It had never been worked out. If it had been worked out sooner, it would have been solved sooner. because it wasn't. They were hanging on and going on with it, dragging it on much longer than it should have been. There was something there from another life that they just wouldn't let go.
Okay. Yep, that's the end of that. Soul people. So souls incarnated. You heard all of that. A lot of info there, a lot of powerful stuff. Anybody who feels to call in and make any comments, feel to do so. But within all of that which has been said, yeah, it's a lot to take in, right? Yeah, it's a lot to take in. So, one, you don't die, you see. There's no such thing as death. In fact, the word die or death is funny, because to die means to divide. It's like where you get the word dice from, okay? You also have the word die. That's another term for dice, you know? When you got this, instead of a square, it's kind of like a tetrahedron, you know? It's like the corners are being stretched out, and you call that a die, and you use that in certain games to play. And that means to divide, okay? So really, when you're dying, your soul, spark of life, is moving away from the vehicle, the vessel, the physical body, the robe, the role, the garment, okay? So it's dividing itself, separating itself from it, okay? To return back to the greater source of its origin, okay? But then you see that there is a process to this whole incarnation thing. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of folk are down here repeating the same old thing again and again and again and again, you know, and blaming it on a judging God that don't exist, because you're the judge, you know. You believe, you know, a lot of people believe that what we're suffering, the suffering, the experience we're having on this plane is due to historical things, based on victim perpetrator, you know. This race did this to us, and we did, you know, there's something else bigger than that playing itself out. And you may not even be, you see, this is the thing that may upset some folk, you know, because a lot of people want to believe that they were always the ethnicity that they're born into now. And, you know, you can get mad and dismiss all of this info. You may say, okay, because the woman sounds non-Nubian, then what am I talking about? But then you get a Nubian tell you the same thing in a different way, but the same thing. And you're going to embrace that then? That shows where you're at. You're kind of very biased, prejudgmental, and that's what's blocking you. Because you're not dealing with the content. You're just looking at the outer form and making prejudgments on certain things or how somebody sounds. So you're missing out on receiving a lot of light if that's the way you are, if that's the way some folk may be listening, you know. But yes, this evening's, topic, as I said, is about life, death, and death, life after death, death after life. And, I'm playing this because I played it because it's to open up and expand our perception of what we are believing is reality and what we believe is taking place and the cause of it. A lot of us are, wow, man. We're the ones who are creating our experiences. Collectively, if that collective are made of individuals who share a particular ideology, okay? And then that becomes a collective of a group of people who think a certain way, and therefore become an amplification of a certain energy field that draws to them what they're putting out, okay? Whereas you get another collective made up of individuals, because a collective is a collaboration of individuals that make up that collective who are on a different frequency of thought, okay? And their frequency of thought amplifies a vibration that may be more benevolent in what they're putting out and what comes back to them. You see, what you focus on is what you get. You know, it has been said that where attention goes, energy flows. You see? And what are you energizing with your attention? And attention is consistent of focus and will. And your intentions behind the whole point of what you're focusing on with your will. And how strong the focus is about how strong, the amplification of your will is. We're out there, up and down. Many people got different intentions. Okay? Different intentions. Intentions is flowing. And those intentions can be constructive or deconstructive. So it's not about necessarily we being a collective to think on the... You see, many people got different intentions out there. Some people's intentions ain't for your benefit or so forth. But what is your intention? This is what you got to focus on. Because you're out there, many people got intentions, their own agenda and so forth, to influence you in a way that may not be in your best interest. Or you may be the one trying to do that to others. You see, the thing is what are we creating? I'll come here on a train today. You got these newspapers. On the front screen of these, on the front page of these newspapers, is two black youths, something about killing and when will it end. Now, the thing is, what folk don't get is that when you pick up a newspaper, you're focusing your attention on whatever story you're choosing to focus your attention on. And what you focus on is what you get, because you're energizing a certain idea, a certain thought, state of conscious, state of mind. You read something like that, it puts you in a certain place, inside of yourself. You begin to feel certain things. You're not realizing that now you're putting your energy, you're aligning yourself with that reality to either draw that experience into you or be amplifying or energizing the very experience. You would say, oh, look at the situations. We don't want no more of that. But you focus your attention, oh man, on what you don't want, but what you focus on is what you get. A lot of us focus, a lot of this focus as well is very fear-based. And as you heard the woman explain, that you got people passing on, but they're afraid and they're having negative experiences, right? But it's because of the fears that they hold inside of themselves of what they think the afterlife is. They believe in hell. So if that's what you think, that's what you go get. If that's what you believe, that's what you will receive. You see it? If you believe it, you go receive it. The point I'm making here is that obviously this whole thing is basically showing you how much more influence we really have, how much more power or control or influence to what we experience. We have more of this influence than we have been led to, acknowledge for ourselves. So what's happening is that within ignorance, a lot of us are continuing suffering through ignorance. You see? Through ignorance stuff. So you are not this body, you are this soul. And you're here to remember more of the truth of whom you are before you came in here. As you come in here, you go through a certain process of amnesia and you forget, When you're a little baby, you notice how babies sleep very often. Where do you think they are? You got people who look at a baby, and thinking, I wonder what they're dreaming. I wonder where they are, Well, you get some insight to where they are. They're gone back and getting more information and so forth while they still can, to remind them or help give them the necessary, clues on what's not to manage this experience that they've now incarnated. So as a baby, you sleep in, you're going back home, All right. That's why babies sleep a lot. They're going back home. They're going back to where they were, where they've just come from, to kind of get some, touched up on. Remember the plan now. Remember the plan why you came in here. Okay. Don't, try and remember. Otherwise, you're going to have flipping heck, even more of a freaking hard time, So, this is what's going on here. But we would kind of A lot of folk will just keep consistently talking or believing their problems and difficulty is because of other people. Now, what we do does affect one another, which is why you end up coming back here to clear things up. Oh, man, I'll tell you. Well, anybody would like to call in, it is, telephone number is 079-443-1366. That's 079-443-1366. I do also appreciate that we have silent listeners and they just silently enjoy, because I get messages from various folk who just let me know, I'm enjoying this and yep, powerful stuff. Keep it going. But yet not necessarily would like to call in, and that's all good. As long as you're listening, tuning in, and so forth. So let's recap on some of the things that was brought up on this. You leave your body every night. Dreams of flying. Strange places. Now I've had that numerous. Okay, but the thing is, you may come back in when you return to the so-called waking dream. Return to this vehicle, that enables you to function on this plane. You don't retain. Sometime you remember, sometime you don't. You see. The vibrational frequency you leave with is where you end up. Yes. Because everything is about vibrations, and you're dealing with a vibrational universe. And, the state of consciousness an individual leaves this physical plane with is going to be the vibrational frequency they carry, which attracts them to match up with a reality that is of the same vibration that they are, But then, you don't remain there. There is a whole process for you to kind of, grow through all of this, But you're the ones who are creating. We are the ones who are creating the very states, the very experiences. Now, some folk may kind of think, they hear the white light or this great light, which is a huge energy source. And, you can hear some people would say, don't go into it. Don't go into it. It's a reprogramming thing. And but the thing is, when you realize that what you believe is what you receive. Oh, we got caller. We got a caller coming in. Greetings, caller. Can you hear me? Hello? Are you there? Caller? What is happening? Hello, caller? Caller. Am I not hearing you? Why am I not hearing you? And you're there? Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
You can hear me loud and clear. Is this Clyde?
Galactic, yeah.
Galactic. Hang on, I'm trying to get you through the desk here. 1 second. Can you speak up a bit and tell me if you're still... Are you there, Clyde?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, what's happening here? I could briefly hear you. Oh, but I need you to come through the desk so everybody else can hear you. 1 second. What is happening here? Clyde, can you hear us? Can you hear me, Clyde?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, but I don't think the listeners can hear you loud and clear. I put you on loudspeaker. So, how am I gonna work this? Let me just, whoopsie daisy. Yo. All right, brother. Just share what you've called in to share, brother.
Okay. Interesting topic and interesting dialogue with Dolores Cannon.
Yes.
I met her, I think, in either 2011, 2012. I met her somewhere around there when she was doing a book signing down in central London.
Okay.
And I didn't know about her before, as I just went into the bookstore to look at some books, and she was there doing the book signing, and we started to talk, and then she told me about a lecture that she was doing later the evening, and I went to the lecture.
Right.
But it's very, very interesting work, and I'm familiar with different materials from different authors concerning the life. There's a very interesting book called Life in the Unseen World. And I could hear some of the information she was talking about similar to that information in that document.
Yes.
It's so important for people to realize that this information in connection to the ancestral, the realm of the ancestral, or the astral realm, or the astral plane, or the different names that we use for it, heaven, or different levels of the other world, as we call it, or ancestral world.
Yes.
I remember Laksam Rampa also talks about that connection as well, and also I think there was in one of his books he talks about when one of the priests had to when the priest had to go and counsel a man who was just about to pass. The family came and called the priest, and they had to counsel the man straight into the spirit realm or the ancestral realm. And so it's quite an interesting topic and interesting for a lot of our people, because we get so bent out of shape when somebody pass, not only because we the love that we have for them and we miss them, but because we don't understand what happened.
Yes,
or
yes.
what the other realm is like. And you hear people say it over and over, nobody's come from the other world and tell us anything. But that's false.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. That's true. Carry on. Yeah.
People say that all the time, but it's false, because even with our individual experience, a lot of us have experience
Exactly.
working with people that has passed on, personal experience. I remember when I was small, I used to experience the travels, but what used to happen coming back is like the colors on the wall was different, and then the child changed. That used to fascinate me, how the colors, when you come back, the colors on the wall is different, and then it change again. So the colors looks a certain way. It used to fascinate me a lot.
Yes,
And I didn't understand anything about that until later I started to study the metaphysics and, and get into it more deeper in terms of understanding, or knowledge,
Yes.
And so, it's, good one.
Yeah, man.
Good one,
Yeah, it's very important. Carry on. You was gonna say something more.
No, because the ancient Kemites also have documentary and pictorial image of showing that where the car and the bar.
That's right.
When you're traveling to the ancestral
The afterlife,
world,
yeah.
your spirit or the car or the bar, and what it looks like, and then how the energy of the person or the soul is on the lingers a little bit before when the person passed. And before they move into the realm of the ancestral spirit realm.
Yes.
But yet a lot of our people, because of religious indoctrination, even though these things are mentioned in the Bible in so many words, people don't understand it. Because the silver cord is mentioned in the Bible. A lot of people may not know that. But she talks about the silver cord and the golden bowl. Oh, that's mentioned in the Bible in the Ecclesiastic.
Okay.
Where it's mentioned. So yes, we all, and I like the fact that she talks about every night, yes, we travel in and out the body.
That's right. Yes.
And sometimes when we come back, there's a bit of a distortion, and that's why we get these nightmares, or we may consider paralysis, because we try to adjust ourselves back into the body.
Yes.
And yes, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, we have had other people talk about this as well, like Albert Taylor and Maladoma Patrice Somi, Water and Spirit, some decades back and so forth. So, there's various other people and whom you mentioned there. I don't recall the name when you just came on. You mentioned somebody else was
Laksam Rampa.
Yes, Laksam Rampa.
He goes deep into that.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So we have many folk who have talked about this and do talk about this. And therefore, there is a bigger picture to what we're experiencing here. I mean, we've even had, when we talk about hell, and people still think there's a hell after this, and don't realize, well, this is hell school. Earth school is hell school, because it's where we're experiencing the limitations, and we're experiencing emotions, and the emotions of maybe what we have caused others to experience, and now we're experiencing it in order to, balance the scales, so to speak. You know what I mean? And so this is why, doing this show this evening is to kind of open up and broaden people's perception on, look at the things that's taking place on this plane. And we blame so many, we stay in a victim mindset when with in what every of the ones who have talked about this stuff in the past or present about lives after this incarnation and so forth, they know that, well, look, man, you know what I'm saying? It is not as cut and dry as you're not a victim. You are creating these conditions. You chose as a soul from the soul plan before we incarnated what we are going to incarnating and what work we come in here to do in order to clear up this and that we are the ones who can change the situation and at any time. But when we come in here, we forget from the soul level who we is and what we came in to do. Yes, brother, carry on.
Yeah, and people don't realize they even say that as a biblical statement when they said the Lord would not give them more they can bear.
More than they can. True.
But it's really that the choices that it's part of the agreement that's been made with the higher realm.
Yes.
Before they come here. So it's not that you cannot do it or you cannot bear it, but you have really chosen this is what you're going to go through.
Yes.
And the whole thing is that the more you understand or overstand the spiritual principles, is the better you're able to handle.
There you go.
Things, you know?
There you go.
I
Yes.
talk a lot about, that shadows just passed, and I've been doing some write-up on him, and
Right.
wrote,
Oh yeah, I saw some today on the on that WhatsApp. That's what you sent, isn't it? Vibrantly after.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some of that today. Carry on, brother.
One of the things that he wrote about, that success itself is on the line, it's on the ladder of disappointment and things like that. People think success is all success, but it's some of the disappointment and the hardship is what makes success what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not just the easy spoon or the golden
Spoon, so to speak. Yeah.
But it's the hardship that help us to make the change. So hard knocks is very important, and the thing about it is, like, the harder it is the better it's gonna be for the growth, and that's why what she said there about the people who are born with disability is the same thing Laxam Rampa says.
Right. Yes.
About
Yes.
disability, and I don't think they know each other in that sense because it was much earlier
Yes.
than her.
Yes.
But he talks about people who are in a disability or state wheelchair bound and things like that. It's because they have work and it speeds up their soul growth. Which
That's
is
right.
interesting that he makes the same analysis.
That's
as
right.
Laxam Rampa.
That's right. That's
Because
right.
Laxam Rampa also talks in his book about actually when the death angel came for him.
Okay. Okay.
And he said when the death angel, as he called it, came for him, then when he looked, the golden llama came and tell him, well, there's another book you got to write. It's not your time yet. And so it's just interesting stories, reading and, seeing the other world for what it is from some people who have the experience of
Yes.
it,
Yes.
I'm familiar with
Absolutely.
the other two guys the other two person you mentioned, which is Maladoma, and which I met them, and Taylor.
Yeah, I've met Maladoma. Yes, I was actually drumming for one of his back in the late 90s. I was drumming when African Center used to be in Covent Garden, and I was drumming for the procession for presenting his talk that he was going to have. So I met him from that time, but I haven't met Albert Taylor, the brother who Soul Traveler. Yeah.
I met him because he came and did a couple of lectures here in London.
Okay.
And what happens, I was excited about the lectures, but then he also he turned the lecture down into the whole ghost and that kind of hunting, he went into the book. And I was a bit disappointed because he did not stay focused on the soul traveling aspects of his book and things like that.
Right.
He was talking about how to recognize, entities and things like that in rooms and houses and things like that.
Okay.
So we're looking, the group that we were part of, we're looking for the higher knowledge in terms of, the whole aspect of how to interdimensional travel and that connection and understanding your higher self. But his work is interesting in terms of his book, soul travel, But I think he should have spent more time when he was here on that side,
focusing on the higher aspect of it,
especially the ghost hunting side.
I hear you. But it seems like, you see, this is where, I was saying earlier today, early on the show about, what we focus on is what we get, and where various people's focus or attention are on some of that more, especially over here in Western, they're on about the ghost hunting thing, you know what I'm saying? You even put TV programs making all this stuff, and a lot of that stuff is also fake and fraudulent. But they're very fascinated with that. You know what I mean? And I found that, you know, part of what Dolores Cannon was explaining about the different planes, the different levels of the astral plane, the lower astral, middle astral, upper astral. And as she was explaining how the lower astral is where people who, you know, who have passed on but don't know that they've passed on. They're the ones who maybe been, you know, died suicide, drug addicts, you know, violently being violent and even died through some violence and stuff. And because they don't realize that they've passed on, they're trying to still gain their fix, that desire, that you know, that feeling. They want to get that feeling, but they have to try to enter into a body, you know, and they can't. So they wait for people when they are less vigilant. You know, this is the reason why then you have a society that sets up people to be, all this drinking and, you know, alcohol, which they call spirits, and you know why they call it spirits then, you know. So then people who are on the drugs, that's not, you know, that's impeding their ability to be cognitive and so forth, open themselves up like gateways for these type of entities on the lower astral to experience whatever they wanted, you know, their desire through those individuals. You see what I mean? Until they themselves get fed up with it, you know, to move on.
Yeah. In the Caribbean, we have a saying, and I'm sure it's the same saying here: misery love company.
Yes.
And when you look at spirits and those different lower levels, and what are they seek out people who have these issues.
Those same,
and really plague us, you know, in terms of, or plague people to you know, to the whole miserable and, you know, that kind of thing. And that's why it's always good to advise people to really seek the higher knowledge.
Yes,
and,
man.
Be
Yeah.
steadfast in the higher teaching.
The higher truth. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just being entertained by this low energy that just really take you down the wrong path.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Going back to Shadow, because I you know, had a very insightful upbringing in connection with his music, and one of his heavy songs that he brought out was The Bassman. And what he said, you know, he was going through a struggle trying to win calypso, you know, to be a major calypsonian, because he loved calypso, he loved music, but he wasn't really breaking ground because he was up against some heavy persons, you know, that are in the calypso music. But then he said, a bassman from hell, he called it the bassman from hell, that you know, that came into his dream and actually give him a beat, and the beat couldn't leave him. He said, you know, he was going back to Trinidad to Tobago to plant peas, but then the bassman gave him a beat, you know, and he couldn't get it out his head. You know,
so him get that, yeah,
so he sing the beat, and now this is one of his number one tune that makes him break ground and get into, like, you know, winning the crown and things
Look
like
at that.
the road match crown, and
Look at
that
that.
just set him up to be very noticed as a very good calypsonian. And he sings a lot of songs about the mysticism and stuff of that nature. It's one calypsonian that really sings a lot on mysticism and the stuff of the stories of the Caribbean in terms of, you know, what we consider as ghost story. I mean, a lot of the times he associates hell in terms of the spirit, because this is how we were trained in the astral world in terms of spirits, and it's all hell, and you know. But at the same time, he showed them as positive, because he showed them that they will always help him with his music.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And when we and I tell you, you know, that is very true, because, you know, as was said through the audio we just listened to, we're not alone, never have been. And we come with various amounts of guides, helpers who don't do the work for us, but only can work with us when we call on their help, their assistance, because we're the one who has to, you know, master the level of understanding that we've come in here to expand within, remember more of ourselves. But the fact is that we got these assistants, you know, spiritual assistance, so the soul's non-physical consciousness intelligence surrounding us all the time, and just waiting for our invite, waiting for our requests for their assistance to step in, you know, and you know, the indications of their presence are not always so obvious, but they are. But when we're dealing with, like, for example, being a musician myself, being into music, man, I would get inspiration. I'd get this bass melody just coming out of nowhere. You see what I'm saying? And just flowing until I'm like, man, I gotta work this out on my bass guitar and play it. You know what I mean? And this is where all of my inspiration comes from. You know, so, you know, and then sometimes they just switch off. Nothing's going on. But that's because I'm not tuning into it. I'm focused on something else. So it's like, in a way, I've moved to a different channel. So they step back until I'm ready to go. Okay, I'm ready. Come open up. I'm opening up for your inspiration. Come on, then. You see what I mean? So these are evidence that, you know, we're not alone. But because of the indoctrination, we block this out. You know what I'm saying? We block it out. We don't see it for what it really is. And we start to think, oh, it's just our minds doing some flippy trip on us or whatever, you know?
Okay. Let me just say this last thing and I hang up because other
Yes.
people want to call.
Yes, bro.
Not only that we're not alone, as she said, but also we have access to other dimensions.
Yes.
We can gain every information. We can always go back and recheck information and why we're here and update what we need to update. So even if we don't have the university here, we have the university of the universe that we can tap into and get higher knowledge there without even some of these colleges and things like that
Brother.
teaching us anything, you know?
Brother, absolutely. It's about the inner university of life. You know what I'm saying? Where you can't, you know, divine knowledge you can't get to college, but only in the inner university of life. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm going. So, Clyde, thank you very much for calling in, brother. Really appreciate your contribution, man. So much there that you've said. Share with the folks. So, in addition to what we have been listening to just here now. So,
Thank you, man.
you are very welcome, utmost, and we'll catch up soon. You know what I'm saying, brother? All right. Okay. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye. Yeah, you have there, brother Galactic Clyde. I hope you all managed to hear everything that he did say. Something, you know, we got a little bit of technical issue here, so I don't know why it's not coming through the desk. But I trust that you were able to hear as put it on loudspeaker for him to like he's talking in the studio actually through the mic. So I just trust that you all managed to hear it. If you didn't, can somebody send me a message to tell me if they heard everything Clyde had said or not? You know what I mean? Until we get this technical situation sorted out. But let nothing kind of hold us back, and prevent the ride, prevent the glide of this higher knowledge that we are, resonating on here this evening. So yeah, man, there's so much more to whom we are, so much more to life. Life itself is larger than life, as I said earlier, and we're dealing with multiple dimensional multi-lives here, So yes, we have the ancestral realms, but when the souls leave this plane, they're stepping back into their grander reality of who they are. So they're not holding on to the old remnants of experiences that they had here. I would, the ancestral realm is the soul plane, the souls, that you're gonna reconnect with, because we're playing a role down here, and we're working things out. And because of this broader reality, cosmic reality to ourselves, is why when we come down here and we start judging and staying in a victim mode, perpetrator, victim, that's part of the game. That's part of the plan. That's part of the illusion that facilitates the what we here to remember, so to speak, on this earth, in this earth school, So, there is, there's so much for us to broaden our perception on, because we are the ones that, look, when the sister was also explaining about people who come in wheelchairs or disabilities and so forth, they've made themselves sick. You see, we think that, oh man, this is, some folk come in here and they're the source behind their illness. But it was for them to learn a lesson and to teach others who are maybe carers for them a lesson. You may have had a different experience with that soul playing a different role in a different time, where we now change up the roles, So now you become you may be the one in the wheelchair when you were the parent before, or you were the brother, or you were the sister, or you were the, the father, but now you're the child, or you're the daughter, or you're the son. Or you're just this acquaintance that turns up, at the right time you're supposed to meet. But you were actually could have been, married in a different incarnation. Or you could have been you know, man, it's just the scenarios just go on of the different stories that we're playing out down here or upon this plane that is for a bigger and broader purpose. But when we get stuck in the limited perceptions that we hold and stay as a victim, or we believe, you know, this person has done this to me and look what these group of people have done, we're not realizing the bigger picture here. We're most probably keeping ourselves stuck in a situation that we've come here to work out. But it's like, man, you just keep playing the same thing around and around and keep doing it because you can't work it out until you may have to decide, yo, we can't work this out, man. We got to end this game now. We got to stop this now because we just can't work this out in order for you to move on. You know, see? Otherwise, you just get stuck in a thing that you know, perpetually recreating something that you think is not you, but is you. Okay, we got caller. Greetings, caller. Who do I have here this evening? Hello? Caller? Hey. Yes, I hear you. I am well, my dear. Me know who this is. Yeah, we can big you up on here now. Hmm? Yeah?
Yeah, I've been listening and it's been good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the Dolores Cannon. I think she really hit some nails on the head.
Definitely.
I love the lectures.
Definitely. Just to let the people know who this is Sister Jahusha V Shines. She's been on the show quite a few times. She's been in the station and she's called in and she always contributes beautifully. So I just want people to know that who this is. You know what I'm saying, my sister? And yes, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I've enjoyed listening to you today and you know, Dolores obviously and Galactic Clyde and yourself.
Yes, that was brilliant what Clyde came in and contributed with. Yes.
Yeah, and oh wow, you got to meet her before she transitioned.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
When I found out she transitioned, I was so disappointed because I would love for her to train me on her technique.
Okay.
She's fantastic. But I think her daughter is still forwarding her contributions, like they do training and stuff in Hawaii.
Right.
Anyway, the reason why I called in was one of the points that really resonated with me from that talk in terms of reincarnation. And the first show that we did together, we spoke about wholeness and oneness and how Dolores supported that fact. She talked about the fabric of life.
Yes, the tapestry. Yes.
The tapestry that, you know, we're one, but we're all interlinked and interwoven and interconnected. And this is the truth that has to be kept, I feel has to be kept at the forefront of our minds so that we can see things as they are, because we do tend to see things outside of ourselves, and separatism is a huge spell.
Yeah.
And we're really caught up thinking that, you know, people think they're better than the other, or worse, or this is good or this is bad, instead of feeling that, like, that understanding that you were.
Oh, one second, sister. Are you there? Jahusha?
Yes.
Okay, it's just that I'm trying to get this coming through the system, and just trying to. Are you there? Speak a second.
Hi.
Oh, brilliant. Gosh, I've been holding the phone up to the microphone, man. You know what I mean? To try to make sure everybody could hear you, because we just had the wrong, something was up. But now, yeah, you sound good, baby.
You know, I meant to say as well that when you while you were holding the phone up for the Galactic, you could hear him perfectly.
Oh, brilliant. So I'm glad everybody got the benefit of hearing him. Everything he had to say. Great. So carry on as you were saying, because the tapestry, how we're interconnected energetically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not just energetically, that we're all made of the same fabric.
Substance, yes. Yeah.
The same fabric, the same source. And to also remind and reiterate that when you're looking at the skin color and the hair texture and the bone density, you're only looking at less than 1% of your whole biodiversity.
Yes.
And that whole spell, separatism, is steadily dissipating and dissolving.
Yes.
And that she says about karma, you know, we keep coming back.
Yeah.
So that we've got to release some of these concepts and beliefs.
Yes. Yeah, man.
And they're very convincing, you know.
Yeah.
But when you can carry or contemplate lofty thoughts that you don't hear about in school and you don't hear on a regular basis, if you can just spend a little time with the type of rhetoric that she was sharing, your own education begins to happen.
That's right.
Contemplation is very powerful, like you were saying about music inspiration. When you open yourself up, when you're prepared to think about something or contemplate it, then you tune into that frequency of insight and knowledge. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I really, that was one of my favorite points out of that lecture, that we were interconnected.
Yes, and how we affect one another through our energies, which is why, you know, when we come back, is because we're trying to resolve certain things that was taking place prior, you know, to this particular period of time. So yeah, and therefore staying in victim consciousness, believing that, oh, this is, you know, these fragmented his earthly ideas of history actually makes people perpetuate the very same things that caused it in the first place, because they don't realize the bigger picture behind it all. So we stay in victim, perpetrator, and not seeing that, no, we're the creators of it all. You know what I mean? We're the ones who are responsible for what we're experiencing, because we're creative consciousness. We are God mind, and therefore the nature of our energy is creative. And you know, as she was saying, you can even change the situation. You know, we're the ones, like, if you know, it's, you know, because of this fear, I think it's based on this separation and fear, and a lot of us are very motivated and very caught up in this fear-based things. We focus our attention on a lot of these things, and we get more of the things we focus our attention on, you know? And because of that, we're not seeing how we're creating the conditions. We're not using our energies in the correct way to enable ourselves to create the more, how can I say, more expanded, a more higher elevated, a more higher vibrational frequency and states of consciousness we would like to reside in, so we can, you know, be the rulers of our own destiny, be the master builder. You know what I'm saying? As I was saying with the stone, that the foundation stone in the last show is God consciousness. You know what I mean? And that we are the souls, we're not this body. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and you don't, and there's no end to your life. You know?
It's very true. What I've learned to do is, if I feel like a victim, I remind myself that I'm lying to myself. There's no such thing as being a victim.
True thing.
And I'm supposed to seize the opportunity to allow in the learning, the wisdom.
Yes.
Or notice what's inside of me that is creating this experience for me to learn and pay attention to.
Yes.
It wouldn't be there unless it was inside of me.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it wouldn't be at the forefront unless there was a teaching, a learning there for me. There's a pearl there somewhere, and I have to find it.
Yeah, yeah.
So instead of feeling like a victim, I've got to think, what the heaven am I saying or doing or thinking that's bringing this about? And it could be just as simple as complaining. Yeah. It could be just as simple as reading an article in the paper. It could be watching the news. It could be having an argument. It could be anything. So until we are impeccable,
true thing,
and you know, and we cultivate that self-awareness, that's the most powerful thing, because in right now is where the power is.
That's right.
And now is infinite. The time is always now. Tomorrow's an illusion. soon is an illusion, later is an illusion.
Soon come. What do you mean?
but now is always here, and the power isn't. The power isn't on a Friday or on your Sabbath or on Sunday. It is now.
That's right. That's right.
It's not just on a full moon or just when the eclipse or just when. It's now.
That's right. That's right.
Certain pockets and windows, your solar return, for instance, when your birthday, the stars are aligned as they were the day you were born. Sure, things may flow, but the reason why they flow is because you believe they will.
We have so much influence on what happens, man. We don't even, so much more than we think. Yeah.
Oh, so much more. And if we recognize that our wholeness and we stop fighting against each other with all of this competitive energy.
Tribal war.
And, right. And, we're focused on the differences just because of where we live on the planet and the color of our skin and the texture of our hair and what people have done in the past, that all these type of people are evil because of this and all these type of people are that because of... We end up becoming what we don't like in looking at it and analyzing it and complaining about it.
We become more of that we
and
want.
then we perpetuate these cycles.
Yes.
So there's so much to learn. I would really love to talk about subatomic particles.
Yes.
I would love to talk about how we exchange energy.
Yes.
Because I don't think people know that they're in the wind. They are the wind. They are the earth, the fire, the wind, they're everything.
The whole elements, everything. Go on.
There's a lot to get into, and I think that kind of, even though it's like a far out, just like Clyde was saying, there's students like us who are ready for the higher knowledge.
Yes.
And a lot of the teachers, they keep it layman so that everybody can absorb. But sometimes you just have to go high and let the seeds fall on
That's right.
Let the seeds, people, because I've had seeds that were planted in me for many, many years, and they didn't sprout for a long time, but they did. So that good can always come out of it. But I think we have to start at the beginning. And that's the beginning of us.
That's
and
right.
It starts in quanta light.
Yes.
And when we understand that and we recognize how whole we are, it will dissipate and dispel all the spells of separatism.
Absolutely. You mentioning this, how whole we are. Within this activation we're having, because, when we're talking about these retrogrades and transits and so forth, these are actually activations taking place within inside of ourselves, because we carry the whole, we are the whole entire universe, okay? As you know this. I had a very strong energy surge in my heart center the last 2 days, was just doing some strong inner focusing. And last night, I'll share this on air. Last night, I went into a place where I was so deeply rested, but I was actually communicating. My heart center was just live, okay? And what I was hearing repeated was, I am whole, perfect, and complete. I am whole, perfect, and complete. I am whole, and I'm telling you, the energy through my heart, it was like my soul, in fact, it's my soul speaking and making sure I remember this when I wake up, when I come back to the waking dream. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And hearing you say this, it just reminded me. And I've been feeling this energy and this presence all day. And it hasn't left me. And even while I'm talking and doing what I'm doing, I'm feeling this presence in my heart center. And that connection and that consciousness, that intelligence speaking through. And it's present, it's very strong. And the very reminder, the truth that is being established and stated and repeated as an affirmation, but it's coming from within. Yeah, it's not from my head. You know, my head trying to, you know, take it and say it. It's coming through my heart center, and it's just repeating. I am whole, perfect, and complete. I am whole, perfect, and complete. And that is the truth. That's the true nature of our soul level. The human mind has been conditioned to believe that we're separate, incomplete, you know, fallen short of the grace of God. All of these beliefs, you know what I'm saying? You're imperfect, all of that. And it was like, you know, the truth is just so loud, you know, reminding me like, yeah, don't slip into none of this other stuff. Because there's a lot of people who, when you are maybe talking to them, they do hold on to these limited ideas, you know, and
they're very, very convincing.
Yeah.
You know, the spells, and they're convincing for a reason. We came to learn this way, so I'm thankful for those spells. And I think the reason why your inner voice is so strong is because you invest in it.
Yes, that's right.
You do your studying, you meditate, you're
interested,
you're inspired. You've been doing the work your whole life, darling. You reap what you sow. You can't escape it.
True thing. Yeah, man. This subatomic level, subquantum light, quanta light, it's just soul light. It's this is what's clearing and making, bringing up a lot of the stuff coming up in people to clear, so we can embody more of the light of our soul, this quantum light, in our cells of our bodies. You know, because we're going through a change here. You know.
Yes, definitely. There's a dynamic shift going on. Dolores has got some more lectures on that. You know, people who are interested.
Yes.
All this information is there for free. If you can really exercise your attention span.
Yes.
And allow it to go in, even if you don't understand what she's talking about.
Take your time.
Make notes. Make notes.
Yes.
Do your own research.
Yes, right.
Names she mentions that Siayome, Clyde, myself mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Look in, do your own research. Prove us right or wrong.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, what you're saying there is also a good reminder, because some people believe that when they hear something, if they don't get it the first time, man, that went over my head. And that's it. Then done. And the thing is, it's like, no. You need to play it again. Because repetition is what got most of us in, you know, where we find ourselves now. So it's going to be repetition for you to be able to receive more expanded knowledge of yourself, rather than, you know, just thinking, oh, if I don't get it the first time, then it must not be for me, or it's gone over my head and I can't reach it. No, you just listen to it again. Listen to it again. The second time you listen to something or read something, you're going to retain more of what you heard the first time or read the first time. And then you keep doing it until it becomes, you start to resonate with that frequency. And you begin to open up those memories inside of yourself. This is how I feel it works. That's how it goes, you know? So yes, you know, people repeat, you know? Repete, you know? That's how
just as Brother Clyde said, misery loves company. There's another saying that the omniverse, or God, can only help those who are prepared to help themselves.
Ooh, there you go. Say that again.
The Most High, or the All, omniverse, creation, source, life, whatever you want to call it, can only help you when you are prepared to help yourself.
Thank you very much. You see?
Simple science.
Yeah, man. I mean, the truth is empowering, uplifting. It wants, you know, it wants you to reclaim your power again and stop reeling on the ground like you're a little worm, you know what I mean, in the dust, you know?
It's not even it wants you.
Yes, it's the word you. Yes, true thing. You know what I mean?
You came to reclaim. You know you can do it. You know you can do it. You knew you can do it.
Absolutely.
You've come here. You've got amnesia. You don't remember yourself. There's certain people that talk a lot of stuff that you don't fully comprehend or get. Sometimes it resonates. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're on top of your game. Sometimes you fall asleep and things just. You get some life experience and some learning. Just the key is know about your vibration.
True thing. This is where you have to focus on. True
Yeah,
thing.
the vibration is your feelings.
That's
it's indicated via your feelings. And know that you are attracting exactly what you're putting out.
That's right.
From you can take accountability and responsibility for that, you're already in a better position.
There you go.
Yeah.
True thing. True thing. Sisterin, true thing. No, for real, you know, absolutely. Focusing on your vibration, focusing on your light, your energy, that is where you begin to take back power and responsibility for yourself and your creations. It's not about focusing on what somebody else I do and what's going on out there, what I'm putting in newspaper for you to look upon, and focusing upon what's on the screen. Because what you focus on is what you get. Because attention goes where energy flows, as we know. So to focus on your own light is the pertinent thing. Yeah.
And consider how the news makes you feel. Yeah. Consider how the movies make you feel. How EastEnders makes you feel. How the television programs, do they scare you? Do they stress you out? The video games, are you anxious? Are you? So if it's not calm or pleasant, you know, you're creating this vibrational discord.
Discordance, yes.
And hence why we're not able to think clearly and see clearly. So these are all instruments that are used to keep a certain small percent of light entities in so-called power. Yeah. But the whole spell is crumbling now.
Yes, that's right.
And if you don't jump on your own bandwagon and help yourself and release all of your beliefs and concepts and all the baggage that you're carrying around, that white people are this and black people are that and young people are this and old people are that. It's all
have to go now, man. Dissolve.
Yeah, it's not useful or conducive to your growth and development.
That's
not saying it hasn't been true and that's not what you've experienced. But what's the point? What are you supposed to learn from these experiences? What am I supposed to learn from the pain? What am I supposed to learn? You understand?
Exactly.
Like people,
extract the wisdom out of the experience.
You only get sick because you're providing yourself with an opportunity to heal yourself. Your body is trying to alert you to the fact that you're punishing yourself some type of way.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So your body's screaming at you. Can you let the past go now? Can we talk about something else? Can we be in gratitude for a little while?
There you go.
Is there nothing in your life to be thankful for?
You know? Enter into self-love, man. Sure.
If you don't vibrate in gratitude, you cannot attract anything to be thankful for.
True thing.
If you're constantly complaining and saying how you don't have no money and the this and the that, so be it. It's not going to change because you are the catalyst of change. It starts with you.
That's right, sister. That's right.
And together, thinking in a unified manner, we're all the more powerful.
That's right.
But instead of trying to change the world,
change yourself.
I'm changing me, baby, and leading by example. That's all I can do.
That is it, and that's all. And that is the powerful position to be in. You know, leave the mirror and change your face. You know, as it goes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
Thank you, Brother Siayome.
Oh, you're welcome, Jahusha. Thank you very much for always calling in and contributing and, you know what I mean, supporting the show, my dear. It is.
Of course, it's just a pleasure. We're in this together.
Yes, that's right. There you go. There you go. We're in it together. That's the truth.
All right. Peace and harmony to all your listeners and everybody.
Yes.
And I'll catch up with you soon.
Yes, sister. And peace and harmony and love to you. You hear? And yes.
Thank you.
All right. You have a good rest. Right. Okay.
You too. All right.
All right. Take care.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Yes. Incarnated souls. That was wonderful, Sister Jahusha V. Shines. And before that, we had Brother Galactic Clyde. Two powerful beings who have called in and shared their contribution to, you know, the broader expansion and true knowledge of ourselves, you know, to so we can enter into self-empowerment and change the script, man. So we can change the script completely, all right, and start to enter into higher level knowledge of ourselves and know how to direct the inner power we have for constructive, uplifting, expansive, empowering, beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Ecstatic, you know what I'm saying? Experiences and realities that we would like to rather experience as a physical, have as a physical experience instead of all of the, stuck groove record business. You understand? So, yes. So, to one and all, we come to the closing of a very strong show this evening. I trust that, those who were tuning in, or those who decided to take notes, or those who say, man, I was tuning in, but, boy, I come to my bedtime and me just couldn't hold on to the whole thing. Have no worries. You can tune into this tomorrow because, as you know, it's live streamed and it's recorded, so you'll be able to pick up on this at another time on Bless Radio 1. This is the channel of the YouTube channel, Bless Radio 1, and you will find the show that has been done this evening and all the other shows. You see my name's Siayome, and you see alongside with the guest names or whatever the show was, you'll see the names of how I titled the show. And this particular show is Life After Death, okay? I mean, Death After Life is how the book, this woman, Dolores Cannon, that was the name of her book, kind of back to front. But it's like, that's a spin on things to kind of make you think. You know what I'm saying? So, we are the soul, we are eternal sparks of life. And we carry the divine mind. We're emanations. We are emanations of the divine consciousness, intelligence, divine will and purpose. And therefore, we carry the same nature of our source of being, the eternal, infinite foundation of being. And that word foundation, the foundation stone is source consciousness, okay? Universal consciousness, that's your foundation, because we are consciousness, okay? Now, I'm going to close up, but there's one thing I just want to share with you as I'm saying this about, the foundation stone is divine consciousness, God consciousness, the divine mind, cosmic consciousness, intelligence. These are different ways of speaking about the same thing, which goes beyond the limited definitions of what you have religiously about God, because a lot of people have fear associated identifying with God, and that is not the source of your being. You see, what you fear is what you also will appear. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying here, just to confirm what I'm saying about the foundation, and just to bring everything that we were talking about, this whole show has been, is about to understand that we are divine consciousness individualized into separate consciousness beings and made visible on this earth by means of electrical particles drawn and bounded together into elements to give you visible living form according to a fundamental physical pattern. So get what you are. You're not this flesh and blood, this thing that you're being told to believe you are. That's part of the illusion and part of the programming to facilitate what we come in here to work beyond, to free ourselves from, and to, expanding more wisdom of our own selves. So it's to realize that you're not bodies possessing consciousness or soul. You are soul, divine consciousness, individualized into separate consciousness beings and made visible on, this earth by means of electrical particles drawn and bonded together into elements, because that's how elements come together, through electrical particles, before you end up getting a cell. You know what I'm saying? Because then the electrical particles, formulate the elements formulate the chemicals formulate the molecules is what then becomes a living cell. So you got this process, but the motivating process behind this is the divine consciousness intelligence. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Everything is intelligently designed and created, this whole scheme. Look at this whole event. We're here, playing out a plan that we we previewed before we came in here. You know what I'm saying? But we end up creating this illusion for ourselves, this game, in order for the soul to grow and expand beyond, the various limitations and emotional states that keep you down and doesn't keep you in a harmonious place. So divine consciousness, that's what we as divine consciousness individualize, not bodies possessing consciousness, or they say, oh, you're a body and you possess a soul. No, we are, divine consciousness individualized into separate consciousness beings and made visible on this earth plane by means of electrical particles which have been drawn and bonded together into elements to give you visible living form according to the fundamental physical pattern, which obviously comes from the chromosomes. You know what I'm saying? That, the body vehicle is being built around. So on that note, I am going to bid you all a good shadow hour and all the best till next strong, where we will be next Tuesday on Cosmic Roots Show. So for one and all, I'm going to again leave with my outro, and I wish you all the best, peace, prosperity, love, harmony, more truth to unfold of your being from within you, and to elevate your vibrations for you to align with the highest consciousness of you. So, and all that be true. So, catch you on the flip side.